Yo, Mr. Logical.
You're.
This question has been bugging me for like 20 years. What's the difference between a 4.0 and a 4.6?
Like 30, 40 grand cocksucker beat it.
Yes. You are now listening to the sounds of Sports Reports' Order. And tonight, we going to talk about it. Thanos is inevitable. Draymond is indefinite. Then, we got some under 500 teams in the NFL that are still alive for the playoffs. Who gets in? Who has the best chance? And then, of course, we're going to try to do this picks thing again.
Oh, my goodness.
I will have the record show. I did have Buffalo over Kansas City. And spoiler alert, I got them over Dallas too. Scream at your boy. Sports Reports is ordered. We are here. And you know what time it is? It's time. But get it off my chest.
All right, let me slide mine in here first because it's pretty simple. We talk a lot. I talk like the old man. Like I'm not one of the older guys in my office. I'm a retired guy, civilian. I think most of the active duty people, I don't think anybody's above 40. Even the commander, I think he's still in his 30s. So I often talk about like back in my day this, back in my day that, whatever the case may be. But one thing I do notice is that back in the day, you took your lumps. Win, lose, or draw, you took your lumps. You didn't. If you complained up, the person you complained to would tell you, listen, man, they beat you fair and square. That was a big thing when we grew up. Yo, fair and square. If you're from the East Coast, you would say shoot the fair one. It's like, the odds were even. You lost out. It is what it is. What I'm noticing now, especially with sports, and I don't know if it's a money thing or if it's a pride thing, but people just want the things to bend to them. Like Mike sent me a letter earlier, like signed by like some political figures,
state
senators in Georgia and Florida, and they wanna incorporate the Orange Bowl into the college football playoff somehow. And it's like, if that was the case, you make that argument in June, not December. Like set up the way, you know what, we might have a situation where you could have 5 power conference teams and another top team and make it 6. Because that's a realistic position you could have been in. You could have argued it. You didn't do that because Georgia, mainly, you hadn't lost a game in a couple of years. You won back-to-back national championships. You didn't think you were going to be in this position. Buffalo win the overtime. They didn't get the ball back. Like, well, you had 13 seconds to stop them from kicking the field goal in the end of the fourth quarter. Kansas City, those fans talking about the offside call. Yeah, he should have got the warning. But, you can't line up. You can't do your thing wrong and then want to lobby in the court of public opinion and get everybody to get their feelings involved. But listen, don't bring feelings to a fact fight. That is a Sports Reports Order stable. Don't bring feelings to a fact fight. The fact remains that it was 4 spots. It's been 4 spots since the 2014 season, the inaugural 2015 college football playoff championship. They're not going to change it this year because we had a good regular season. Because it's starting to dampen how good the regular season was because everyone's mad about the way the playoff played out. The regular season was dope. LSU quarterback wins a Heisman. You got a Pac-12 team, 2 Pac-12 teams that were really in the running to be in the college football playoff. Oregon beats Washington. They're probably in. Last year, it was a situation where Utah beat USC, and then they get to represent. This year, they got to represent. Texas is in. Alabama's in. So, like, you have, like, just Michigan. I mean, you got the Blue Bloods. You have all these good things happening around the sport. But yet, because you didn't get in, you want to complain. Buffalo beat Kansas City and Arrowhead again, and you want to complain about the refs. Cool. Don't throw interceptions in the first quarter on screen passes. Don't end your possessions that way. You don't have to worry about this stuff. So it's like, I'm just sick of the people getting what you're dealt when it was straight up, when it was fair, and you didn't get what you wanted. Stop complaining about it. It happens. Pick yourself up. Life is tough. Wear a helmet and get back out there. I don't want to see no more senators writing letters. I want you to write letters to make sure schools have books, make sure books aren't getting banned, make sure kids eat when they, get to school, make sure parents have adequate communication with teachers. That's what you need to be worried about if you're a senator. Not worried about if FSU, Georgia get their $20 million from Coca-Cola or Tropicana or whatever big billion-dollar company is paying the school. Make sure there's no potholes in the road. Make sure people can stand in line and vote without being accosted. Make sure hate crimes get prosecuted. Make sure sexual assault crimes get prosecuted. You don't need to be worried about if college football guys get to play a game for a trophy. That's not your job. Your job is completely different. There's a description for it. It's in the Constitution of the country. It's in the Constitution of your state. Hell, you can Google it. None of them say you should be concerned with college football. All right, keep it a bean. Worry about the people, not the entertainment. The entertainment will sort itself out because people still gonna watch that game against Florida State versus Georgia. People still gonna watch that game, even though there's no trophy in the line other than whatever the Orange Bowl trophy is. You're not gonna be a national champion, cool. Be a senator for your state. Worry about the people in your state. Make sure kids are learning how to read before they get to the 7th grade. Making sure teachers are safe in school. Make sure kids are safe in school. That's your job. Don't be worried about what football game and what it means and where it ranks when it comes into January.
Right.
That's it.
And then, Ron DeSanctimonious was talking about suing the NCAA. I'm like, the NCAA don't even run the playoff.
Just do anything for votes, man.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like, if he wanted to get some votes, he should have did better when Gavin Newsom laid the smackdown on him. That's what he should have did. So get it off my chest. I got some feelings. So, FCS Final Four this weekend, playoffs. You wasn't even ready for that one.
Not at all.
We got Albany at South Dakota State, the defending champion Jackrabbits. And then we got North Dakota State, the Bison, of course. You're familiar with them, and they're always there. Going to play my Montana Grizz. Come on, Grizz, bring this title home. But anyway, there's something else going on Saturday that hits a little closer to home. The Mecca, Howard University.
Go Bisons.
The other school in Tallahassee, Florida A&M, the Rattlers, the first ever FCS national champion back when it went down to 1AA back in 1978. Playing in the Celebration Bowl to crown the Black national champion. And I might sound like a coon real quick, but I want a HBCU to win the actual national title. I want them to dominate the sport. You had players like Walter Payton, Jerry Rice, Michael Strahan, so on and so forth come through these universities.
Shannon Sharp, Terrell Owens.
Yes. Well, no. El Dorado went to Chattanooga. He went to Chattanooga. But the point being, I want to see that Eddie George is coaching over at Tennessee State. I want to see the rise of the HBCU. Now, to be fair, last year, Deion Sanders had the buzz going. He was at Jackson State the last 2 years. Each state of Carolina got a piece of that ass because South Carolina State beat them the first year. North Carolina Central beat them last year. So, I just want to see a great football game, but I want something bigger. I want something better. And I know I did not go to an HBCU. So I know I don't understand. There's certain things that you feel that I don't know and all that stuff. And I'm fully free to admit that. But I want to win the whole title. Now, nobody's even talking about this game, even though I was surprised, facts over feelings, right? I was surprised to learn that North Carolina A&T and Grambling, had in 2016 had the highest rated Celebration Bowl. I was shocked. I thought it would have been one of the Dion years. So obviously
makes sense.
So obviously there's a market for this. And as I was looking at these numbers, last year the Celebration Bowl had 2.42 million watchers. For comparison, the FCS title game, the Battle of the Dakotas, 1.07 million. Even worse than that, the semifinal, South Dakota State against Montana State got a 0.36 rating and had under 6,000 viewers. So obviously there's a market here. There's something to celebrate about the Celebration Bowl. But I just want to know, why isn't it being spoken about? Why am I not hearing about it? Because everybody tells me what I don't know about HBCUs. Everybody tells me that I'm some kind of coon or whatever it might be. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it might be. Touchdown Chargers on the board, baby. On the board. But
killing me. You're always ahead of me. You do it every single week. And I'm watching on TV.
It's about to be. It's 49-6 right now, ladies and gentlemen.
Did he get one? Oh, he was wide open.
But the point being is, we're sending second place teams to the playoffs. So North Carolina Central went to the playoff this year since Howard is going to the Celebration Bowl. And then what did they do? They went out and lost by 22 to Richmond. So is that why the HBCU isn't playing in the playoff? Because they don't have a chance? Well, here's the secret. The more you play, the more you try it, the more chances you get at it. You get better. I don't know if there's recruits that aren't going to HBCUs because they don't have a chance to win the national title. I don't know.
But it's not on TV enough?
It's not on TV enough, but I think it's worth investigating, and I think it's worth finding out the answer to that question. So I'm going to do some diligence and figure that out. But getting it off my chest, I got Florida A&M bringing the Celebration Bowl back to the SWAC because Dion dropped it twice. So go Rattlers. So Thanos is inevitable. Draymond
Adam Silver is inevitable.
Is indefinite. Now, Draymond Green. Obviously, everybody has seen this by now. He said he was trying to sell the file to the ref. There you go, to the ref. He tried to sell it to the ref.
He won't sell it to me.
And he ended up pretty much punching.
He karate chopped him.
Nurkic in the face. So
it was like it was so many different combinations, like different adjectives you describe to use the contact. Some people call it a punch. You can call it a karate chop. You can call it like some Krav Maga move.
It was like Austin Powers judo chop.
Yeah, it was like a judo chop. It was so many things, none of which were necessary. That's my only thing, is just that.
So you're on board with the suspension then?
I'm on board with it. I just wish they would have just put a number on it and don't front. Listen, don't piss my pocket and tell me it's raining. It's nothing he's gonna do. They had a 3-0 lead. No, they had a they had a 2-1 lead when he got kicked out of game 4.
Look at your screen real quick. Yo, so I'll talk for a second. First round
picks.
Yeah, look at this.
Oh my goodness.
And they talked about potentially bringing back John Gruden, but we'll get into that another time. But go ahead.
So, game 4 in the 2015, 2016 season NBA Finals, he backhands LeBron when he steps over him. They end up winning that game. They go up 3-1. He's suspended for game 5. Kyrie, LeBron both go for 41. I don't think this still happened since two teammates dropping 41 in the NBA Finals game. And then LeBron gets the momentum, goes for 41 again in game 6, and then in game 7. Draymond did his thing, but they end up losing, blowing the 3-1 lead. That didn't stop you from behaving that way, because if you think it's 400 guys in the league, not everybody's a superstar. Not everybody's a scorer. Everybody has a role. Every team has their physical guy. Every team has their rebounder. Everyone has their defensive guy. He seems to be all three wrapped into one. But those guys don't do that. They're not constantly arguing every call with the ref, grabbing guys by the jersey. Like, yo, just give up the layup. If it's 72-71 in the third quarter, just give up the layup. The dude beat you. Don't grab him by his dreads. Don't flail your legs. I've played basketball like for fun, like my whole life. I've never threw one leg up in the air for any reason. Not getting a rebound, none of this Karl Malone stuff when you get your knees up. It's so deliberate, and the fact that you can get suspended for 10 or 15 games if you punch somebody in the face is the reason why he acts this way. Because those guys can't afford it. Most of the players who are playing that role, that Pat Beverly, that dog role, a lot of them are on-ball defenders. It's not a lot of Charles Oakley's, Anthony Mason's, the Davis brothers in Indiana, like just big. Even Jermaine O'Neal, trickled into like the early 2000s, because you don't have a lot of big guys that are making a lot of money that can afford to. If I'm making $20 million a year, we break it down. It's like I don't know all the math, but say, a 5-game suspension costs you $4 million, or a couple $1 million in a 5-game suspension. Mm-hmm. If I'm making 20 to 25 million, and you're getting on my nerves this much, and I got a Gatorade deal or a Nike shoe deal that's making me a little bit of money on the side, I'm willing to punch you in the face for that. But Draymond goes after guys that don't make that kind of money, so they can't afford to just punch him in his face, because the way he's behaving like no one's going to punch me in my mouth. And I get it. He's 6'7", probably 225, something like that. Pretty solid sized dude. But there's a lot of dudes on the NBA court that are 6'8", 240, 6'9", 230, 6'6", 220. It's a lot of guys comparable in size that could punch him in his face, but they can't afford to. Honestly, I will let him play, and I will tell Adam Silver to send a secret message to the enforcer on the other team that says you're allowed to punch him in his face next game. Because I'm telling you, your behavior changes when you get hit in the mouth. Think about a wide receiver that gets rocked on a slant pass. Mm-hmm. Call it again. Call it again the next drive. I guarantee he won't go in there with that same kind of vigor. You punch somebody in the face, they act differently. No one's been able to punch him in the face, and he's been acting like this bully the whole time, mainly because he's basically picking on people because he knows I can get away with this because my team needs me to be this kind of guy. And so this discipline, like the indefinite suspension, whatever the case may be, I don't care. Punch him in his face. When he comes back from his suspension, I'm poking him. I'm poking him the whole time because I want him to do something just so I can hit him in his face. Just because he does it to every team, he does it to his teammates, he does it to every ref. It's like Debo and Friday. Everybody watch Craig hit him in the face with a brick. No one should get hit in the face with a brick in a fight. But it was like, this dude deserves to get hit in the face with a brick. Draymond, unfortunately, deserves to get like in a real fist fight where another guy comparable in size really throws hands on him and see how it plays out. Maybe you win, maybe you don't. But at this point, he deserves someone to punch him in his face. So I'm not advocating for violence, but I am advocating for like defense of your space, because he will Jordan Poole probably wanted to hit him, but he was probably thinking like, I'm at practice. I mean, he's not the most professional person. We can see how he plays on the court, but it's like,
no, but there was definitely a hierarchy on that team.
I'm at work. I'm at practice. This dude is running up on me. He's always like this because he's a bully.
Mm-hmm.
I was 4'11" going in the ninth grade. I never got bullied. You want to know why? Because I would hit you with this thing as quick as I could. You were gonna catch it, and my mom was cool with it.
Mm-hmm.
I got suspended from school. She was like, "Listen, what'd you do?" I'm like, "This is what happened. All right, don't be out here in these streets acting a fool, trying to do." Because like I got in trouble for like starting a fight.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, "You started it. I'm whoop your ass." So I caught that L. But self defense, this little tiny right hand I had, and that was a big one. I hit you with it quick. You won't catch me coming home crying, talking about I'm getting bullied on the bus. Nah, I'm gonna pull that shirt over your head, and sometimes somebody need to pull that jersey over his head and hit him like a hockey player because he wouldn't act like this as somebody else. Like I said, I'm not advocating for violence, but I'm advocating for self defense. This whatever counsel he's gonna get, crap. Whatever meeting he has with Adam Silver, crap. He'll say whatever he needs to say. He's a smart man. He is a very articulate man. He's a well-spoken man. He's a very thoughtful man. Like when you hear him talking in his press conference, when you see him on his podcast, you see him in interviews with like LeBron, and you see how
On
he
TNT.
On TNT, how he rides for Clay, how he rides for Steph, how he rides for Steve Kerr, how he rides for the Golden State Warriors, how he rides for Michigan State and the state of Michigan and Saginaw. You could tell he has passion and concern, but the way he acts on the basketball court, he's a loose cannon, and you need to go ahead and give him a couple of bing, 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 and then maybe he'll act right. But Adam Silver conversation won't change how he behaves.
Yeah, so I've been looking, trying to find this number because I couldn't remember the exact number, but I heard somewhere that he had something about 170 technicals in his career. So as of what I was just reading, as of April of last year, he had 163 techs and had paid up to about $2.2 million in fines over his career. Now, Mr. Logical always does this to me. I be wanting to say stuff, and then he say something that I gotta attack him for.
I'm hearing it.
After all these years, you still don't care about Steven Adams' nuts. First thing out your mouth.
Oh, I said flailing the leg. I said flailing his leg.
The first thing out of your mouth was forearm to LeBron James when he tried to walk over him.
Because that cost him the championship. So it's like if you the thing with Steven Adams didn't cost him anything.
But this is the point. This is the point. Maybe if somebody had did something initially when he kicked Steven Adams in the nuts, not once, but twice in the same series, maybe we're not here. Maybe we don't even get there with him and LeBron. Maybe we don't. I don't know if we do or don't, but I'm just saying.
The malice at the palace made the NBA rethink. We need to punish the hell out of these dudes for fighting. Because I think Carmelo got like 15 games. But remember they had a little scuffle with the Nuggets and the Knicks. I think he got like 10 or 15
and ran away.
Yeah, he got like 10 or 15 games. So that
was so and he not said Baltimore.
He said David Stern sat him down and was like, "Listen, we're watching you and your friends. We know who you're hanging out with."
Yeah,
but that's why he got the 15 games.
But that's why I remember a couple of weeks ago we sat on here and I asked you, "Do you think Draymond Green has ever hit Steve Kerr before?" Because they are obviously terrified of Draymond Green. So it doesn't take the NBA to suspend him. It doesn't take the NBA to fine him. The Warriors have the power to do these things. So when he kicked Steven Adams in the nuts twice and nothing happened, but when he hit the cash cow, he got suspended. They had already shown there's levels to this. There's things that you can get away with, and there's things that we just ain't going to we're not going to tolerate, right? All right. So then they got Kevin Durant. They did all the things. He went in the parking lot crying, and Steph was somewhere else.
I forgot about what he did to Kevin Durant.
He's the reason Kevin Durant didn't come back.
And it's obvious. It's not even like a secret. Like it maybe Scottie Pippen didn't want to go back in the game because he was sick of Michael Jordan. We don't know that. We know for a fact that Kevin Durant was like, Yeah, from that moment on, I felt like the whole organization didn't care. They took his side, so I didn't want to be there.
Yeah, I think they fined him. I think they did fine him in that situation.
He said it never had like Kevin Durant did,
But
and I think it was on David Letterman or some podcast, and he said that it felt like they never addressed it and never really sat down as
yeah,
men.
I think they fined him and they sat him a game or something, but it was like one of those like, yo, Dre. It was more
You can sit against
like,
the Wizards.
It was probably more like, yo, Dre, go cool off, man. Like it was probably more like that. You know, we saw him
unnecessary. I understand the intensity, but it's like there's nothing that intense on a basketball court to where you need to be flailing that much. It just doesn't. It doesn't make practical sense. I'm a logical person. Doesn't make any sense that he acts like that.
The Saturday night that Steph hit the shot against OKC. You know the shot. You know from the other side.
When he dribbled up, yeah.
Yeah, that night, like right before halftime, him and Kerr, or I should say, got into it with Steve Kerr. I don't think Steve Kerr did much getting into. I think Draymond did all the getting into. And so, like, you're right there on national TV getting embarrassed by your player in that way. It's too late. It was too late to do anything or to try to reel him in. So now
versus tolerance, man.
So now, you know, like I said, Durant's gone, but Durant left because of him. Already cost you one championship, probably left some more on the table. You know,
at least two more.
Yeah.
Two more with a healthy Durant. Yeah, two more for sure.
So then last year, you know, coming off the championship, the Warriors had a chance because you just won the title. So you can suspend Draymond. You could do something to Draymond at this point. So he punches Jordan Poole. And what happened?
They went out there and got their rings.
I think they sent them away for a couple of days, but he didn't miss any time. He was there on opening night, got the ring ceremonies, all this kind of stuff like that. So this is where I'm sick of the shit, because normally if this was a normal player, like I would be like, that move he did on Nurkic, give him 3-4 games.
Look how people treat Grayson Allen. People call Grayson Allen dirty. Even with Chris Paul, is very clear, like he is referred to as a dirty player. He gets a little bit of a pass because he has this beef with Scott Foster. So that tends to kind of take over the narrative around Chris Paul, because every time we talk about him, normally Scott Foster's involved. So that's a bigger story to him being a dirty player.
It was something dumb. Like he was like 0-14 in playoff games that Scott Foster called at some point.
It happens every time. You know, Tim Donaghy and Scott Foster, the boys, they're still probably gambling, but that's neither here nor there. We'll talk about that later. But Grayson Allen has been known but that's the thing. Same thing with him. I watched him kick a player at Duke, literally with his own foot, reach out, kick a player, and then fall down and go, I can't believe. I was like, dog, we all saw you kick him. And then when he snatched Caruso out of the air last year and broke his wrist, he was out for 6 weeks. No one is allowed to get up and punch these dudes in the face. I'm telling you, as a person who was not very, very big growing up, that punch, that right hook to the face, that right cross to the face, it changes people.
Feelings over facts, right? Feelings over facts.
It changes how people come to you. It changes how people came at me. Listen, I said I was 4'11", 114 pounds going into 9th grade. And I had never had a bully in my life because I would deliver that right hand. If you got too comfortable thinking you could do and say whatever, you were going to catch it. I lost a few scraps, but you could be a couple years older than me. You say the wrong thing to me. You say the wrong thing to my sister. It was a wrap. I'm going to put it on you. I'm going to put all 90 to 100 pounds on you. That's what I was
about to say. Feelings over facts. Sometimes you just got to punch somebody. Like, you know, we're 23 games into the season? Punch them. Get it over with. We ain't at game 60. This ain't.
And then had a team pull together to help me pay my fine.
Yeah, we ain't in the playoff race right now. If this was game 65, if this was Christmas even, I ain't going to punch you in the face on Christmas maybe. You know what I mean? But
I'm about to be the Grinch.
You know, but like last night, but even just like last night, right? How did nobody on that team go after this man? You know what I'm saying?
You talking about Draymond?
Phoenix. Yeah, why ain't nobody go after? Just like Even when he hit LeBron, I don't remember the Cavs, really like.
But that's the thing. The hit on LeBron it wasn't even a hit.
No, I know, but
because
LeBron initiated that.
If you're on the floor,
Yeah.
floor, like I saw it because I was deployed. I remember when I saw it, I didn't think it meant any. I didn't think it was whatever. I didn't think when he got suspended, I was like, "Whoa, that's crazy."
It was because of who it was.
Because he keeps doing it.
If he did that to, I'm trying to think of somebody that was
I think it's because
like not
him.
Kyrie, but if he did that
did
that to what's the dude tall Channing Frye, if he did that to Channing Frye, no suspension.
If Jason
that to Shumpert,
Tatum,
no suspension.
If Jason Tatum did that to LeBron, he wouldn't have got suspended. If anybody else would have done that to any other player, they wouldn't be suspended. It's the fact that it's Draymond, and you would think that an NBA final suspension when you're literally in position to be a catalyst of the greatest team in NBA history, the sport that's been around since Dr. James Naismith invented it in Canada. Single-digit losses. You were about to be immortalized in history.
Just came back from 3-1.
And they were dominating Cleveland. Cleveland had no shot to beat them until one game when they realized, like, oh, these other dudes can't defend at all. It is all Draymond. It is all Draymond guidance. And it was like, they can't defend at all. And then in game 5,
said. Somebody asked
Draymond
him
can't.
Somebody asked LeBron, like during one of those little, I think it was post game, maybe the interview, and they said, he said, "Hey, whoever gets Steph, go get your buckets." At him.
Yeah. So by the time game 6 came around, they realized, like, oh, so Draymond can't do anything.
And then Bogut got hurt
because Draymond was going to get kicked out of. He couldn't get kicked out of game 6, so he couldn't play as aggressive as he played in game 4. So LeBron went at him again and got 41 more points. He realized, like, yo, your iron has a chink in it. So you would have thought after that season, him basically, for lack of a better word, humbling himself to call Kevin Durant to come help them defeat this juggernaut out of Ohio. You're like, okay, cool. Well, he got it together. Then they win a championship, and then they win another one.
So what you say?
And then he just then he just barks on the dude that you called to save your team's reputation, legacy, and then you ruin that relationship.
So what you say? Don't piss on, what is it? Don't piss in my
pocket and tell me it's raining.
Well, I got one for you. Don't expect a dumbass not to be a dumbass.
Nah, listen.
Because the Warriors. No, this is the Warriors' fault.
You got to teach him a lesson. No one's taught him a lesson.
He hasn't been taught. That's what I'm saying. This is the Warriors' fault. They have enabled him. If at any point.
Great word. That's a great word to describe what they've done.
So after the LeBron thing, when they lost that finals, that's when you use the terms, not to make him sound like an animal or anything, but that's when you use the terms leash. He's got a leash. If you cross this line, I ain't waiting for the NBA to suspend you. I'm gonna sit your ass down for 4 or 5 games.
If you think about it, I bet they wish they would have traded Draymond that all season, got some pieces, and kept Harrison Barnes and signed KD. I don't know what the math looks like, but I imagine whatever math Draymond was pulling. Well, I know from the salary
Harrison
cap,
Barnes got 4 years, 96 from Dallas.
I imagine that they probably could have made the math work to where you keep Harrison Barnes, you trade Draymond and go get you a guy like a Covington or even a Pat Bev, just like a dog, just some of those players, get somebody like that, because I think even with the championships, they will look and say they probably could have done it without Draymond if they could have moved Draymond. You bring in an Avery Bradley and Bobby Portis.
Right.
Because you have KD, Harrison Barnes, Steph Clay as your shooters. You bring in an adequate point guard. I think you had Sean Livingston. I think they could have made some moves. Barbosa could have played your point off the bench because they lost a lot of pieces when they brought in Durant straight up.
Right.
You move Draymond, you might be able to make something happen. Unfortunately, because I don't think it's a mental thing. I don't think it's I think it's just a matter of he gets away with it. And Nick Wright said this on First Things First a while ago, and I don't want to take credit for it. But he said what he does in certain games where it's like, give me like Golden State, Milwaukee, Golden State, the Lakers and LeBron's playing, Golden State and Brooklyn when KD and Kyrie and everybody was there. Those kind of like prime time matchups where it's like the NBA wants the Golden State Warriors on TV. He would get a tech early and then act just ridiculous for the rest of the game, knowing that the refs don't want to give him a second tech
right,
and affect the game that the NBA wanted on TV. And he was like, and Nick was like, I don't have any proof to this, but he was like, it seems as if that happens.
Then he gets kicked out on purpose when Steph doesn't play.
That's another thing that came out. It's like,
what was it? Like it was like out of 10 games or something. Like 70% of the games that Steph missed, he gets ejected.
7 of 11 games or something.
And we got another touchdown, folks. That's I think a fumble return. So about to be 56-7.
Oh man, look at the big boy
the
go.
Cavalry is on the loose, but that's where I was thinking about this yesterday. Like Draymond, I will give him credit. He made me reevaluate my life yesterday. Because so a couple of weeks ago, I'm talking to the wife and she was giving me credit because, I guess I finally learned that it's okay to apologize, right? Like I struggled with
I gotta turn my mic off. I'm laughing too hard.
It's okay to apologize, right? So I told her, like, I don't like apologies because 9 out of 10, when somebody apologizes to you, they know what they did was wrong. It wasn't a mistake a lot of times. Like you knew what you made a decision to do what you did that led you to apologize to me. And I don't want your apology because you obviously didn't think about me when you made that decision. And I told her on the flip side, I don't apologize a lot because I meant to do what I did. Like, you know what I mean? Like if I said this word that like
sound like Draymond.
That I know that's what he said. And when he said it, when I said it, it was like I was just braggadocio and you know what I mean? I was macho. When he said it, I was like, ooh, like because that's what he said.
But he meant it, and that's the thing. Yeah, like
he said in his after the game, he said, "I'm gonna apologize."
I would literally sit down if you're gonna be honest, you'd have to literally say, Adam Silver, if you sit down with the GM, Steve Kerr, Draymond, his agent, whatever the case may be, Zoom call, however you came about it, just be like, listen, just give them the 10 games. The NBA PA can't allow you to just suspend them because it's like, because they can present evidence that, listen, this happens multiple times, multiple players have these kind of contacts. They don't get more than X amount of games. You could just simply go to legal route. Don't waste your time fronting like you're gonna come up with this mental overhaul of your behavior and it's gonna be so different. It's not.
Go.
Just give me the 10 games. Let me sit tight for 10 games. No, for what?
Go to a fake ass anger management or whatever. Like
was he angry?
Or what Riley Cooper did? What Riley Cooper did? He had to go sit down. And,
I think he went to like a Drake concert or something. Like
no. Like
he went to
his
steak
punishment.
dinner.
Like his punishment. Like it was like They sent him somewhere, like he went to a therapist or something. They said
ate soul food with the black players or something. I don't know.
So send Draymond to the little bootleg therapist. He ain't even got to do all the stuff Kyrie had to do to come back.
Like, just don't even don't even do it. Like, just stop. Like, I just want people. Like I talked about it in my get off my chest. It's like this. People just have this expectation that your feelings and you put your heart into it and what you think and your opinion all matters. Like I saw some on Instagram right before we started recording. There's people mad at Kylie Jenner because she got a 40-foot Christmas tree in her house. Talking about another tree dead, but yet people fly out from all over the country, go to Rockefeller Center to see the Christmas tree that got cut down from Vermont. And it's like, on top of that, who cares if she has a 40-foot tree in her house? I don't care about your feelings. Just because you can type it doesn't mean I care.
Right.
Draymond is literally in a situation like, listen, he doesn't care that he slapped Nurkic in the neck. He only cares because he got kicked out of the game for it. He was trying to sell the call. All he cares about is the fact that he was trying to sell the call and inadvertently hit this dude in the neck.
It's like
he
the dude
doesn't
that got...
care that he actually hit him in the neck. He just cares that he messed up and hit him in the neck. The contact was irrelevant.
It's like the dude that gets caught cheating. You ain't hurt. You
ain't hurt. You just mad you got caught.
Yeah, like that's all it is.
You like doing what you was doing. You like sliding to the DMs. You like getting the hotel. You like creeping. You like the lies and all the benefits that came from it. You just don't like the fact that now you gotta apologize to your significant other for the fact that you did it.
Did you hear Nurkic's comments?
I heard him say something like, "I hope he gets some help" or something.
Yeah, he said, "No." He said that brother needs help.
Oh yeah, Nurkic has a real I noticed when he was talking, I was like, like a real down south kind of swing for. I think he's from Serbia. I think he's from one of those Eastern
Bosnia.
Yes. Yeah, one of those former Eastern Bloc countries.
Yeah,
but so he had a real twang to it when he said it. I was like, okay, Nurk. But he has a Travis Kelce beard. He was Travis Kelce before Travis Kelce.
Well, it's just crazy because Steph is the leader of this team, and he's probably him, Chris Paul, and Moody are probably the only consistent playing okay dudes on the team.
Yeah.
So you would think that since Draymond rides so hard for Steph and Clay, you brought up Clay, you would think that they would sit him down if they have it. They probably have it. He just doesn't listen to them either.
I don't think he listens because there's been no ramifications for it.
Yeah.
It's only worked out. It's like if we talk about people have spoiled kids or whatever. It only doesn't work out when they flat out can't make that phone call and get the money wired to them to get them out of a jam. I'm stuck in Florida. I shouldn't have been there, but I need $2,000 to get my car out of the towing so I can get back home to North Carolina. And the person they call says, no, figure it out.
I can't wait to see.
They've always answered that call, and they've always allowed him to behave that way. They've always wrote from publicly instead of just giving sometimes you get those kind of statements that are just very nondescript. We're going to let the system play out. We have our process in place, and we're going to get with our team, and we'll get with Draymond, and we'll come up with the best solution. That's a very nondescript. A lot of times they come out and say, hey, he's a fire on our team. He's a catalyst for our championships. And he's basically just, when he hears that, he hears support, but he also hears that them enabling him.
So how long do you think he out for? And there's a reason that I'm asking this question.
So we got what date? Today is the 14th.
The 14th of December.
Does Golden State have a Christmas Day game?
Let's see. I didn't even think about that.
Because if they have a Christmas Day game, he'll be back before then. He'll be back on Christmas Day. If they have a Christmas Day game,
they go to Denver on Christmas.
Yeah, he'll be back.
Well, I was going to say,
punch, and he's going to kick Jokic right in his nuts.
Well, I was going to ask. I was going to ask, will he be back by December 22nd?
Who's the 22nd?
Jordan Poole coming to Golden State.
Nah.
We got to get the drama. Gotta get the drama.
Nah, I don't care. Nope.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm a smart person. I don't work for the NBA. But if I did, even if I was an intern and I was in a meeting and they were discussing, because the NBA office is right up here in New York. If I got a job there, I could be on a train. I'd be there in 75 minutes.
And we got a touchdown.
Man, you killing me with this. I would speak up like, listen, yeah, let's go ahead and skip the 22nd of December. Let's go ahead and have him back to play Jokic because Jokic's brothers will beat him up. What? Huh? What? I just saw what happened. They got another defensive touchdown.
Yes, he intercepted the screen pass. He tried to throw the screen to Eckler, and he came through with one hand, like Michael Jordan style.
Even Mark Davis was in the booth, like,
look, here it is,
okay,
right here.
here
They replaying it now. He came through like Michael Jordan with the one hand.
Yo, if that happened on Madden, like I said, I say this every week. I would lose it.
63-7, folks. 63-7, and there's still 14 and a half minutes left in this game. All right. So, speaking of the NFL, speaking of the Raiders, I guess the Raiders are a part of this conversation we're about to have. So they're
using up all their points this week, though.
There's some teams with some losing records, but they're still alive for the playoffs. So help me out here. Let me know if I forgot anybody. But
all right, hold on. Let me pull up my notes.
All right. So
I'm ready.
The Giants, the Packers, the Rams, Seattle, then the NFC South. Like whoever doesn't win the NFC South. Then in the AFC, the Jets, the Titans, and the Raiders. Did I forget anybody?
You got Jets, Titans, Raiders in the AFC, correct?
Yep.
That's the under 500.
Yep.
But we have a bit of a log jam at 7-6 that should kind of play out this weekend. But theoretically, they're not playing each other. Denver's playing Detroit. Cincinnati's playing Minnesota.
Yep. That's on Saturday.
So you could have
both of those games are on Saturday.
You're gonna have 4 new 7-7 teams, or you could have, any combination of 8-6 and 7-7.
Yeah. So then you got in the NFC this week, we got Tampa going to Lambeau. So, the loser of that game is going to be in some trouble.
They're going to have 8 losses, or we get a tie, 6-7-1.
Or you get a tie. Yep.
I mean, the season's been crazy as is.
The Rams are going to get angry
the
Washington.
Raiders got 63 points on a Thursday night in Nevada.
The Rams are going to play an angry Washington team coming off the loss to the bye. So you never know what's going to happen. Then, you got Seattle Monday night up in the Pacific Northwest, got Philly coming through. The Jets go down to South Beach this week. Zach Wilson probably had the best game of his career last week.
Best game of his football career since high school.
The Giants, I believe, go to the House of Horrors to play the Saints.
Correct.
So there you go. So
Tommy DeVito, baby. Tommy DeVito, baby. Let's go.
So out of all these teams, who do you think has the best chance to end up in the playoffs?
The Rams. Out of all the teams we named, I like the Rams. The NFC South, somebody's going to get in. There's potential that theoretically a 7-10 team, 8-9 team out of NFC South can get in. Because it's just, I think Atlanta has another game against New Orleans. And
they do. Last game of the season at the House of Horrors.
They're gonna play Carolina this week, which
45-cent tickets, baby. Go get your tickets.
45-cent tickets, dog. 45 cents. You can't even get a soda you can't get gum for 45 cents. Can you buy anything in the store for less than 50 cents?
I don't know, but
but
Joe, you can take your whole family for like $8.
Straight up. It'll cost you more for the cheese fries than for 4 tickets.
Let me tell you about this man. So I was I sent that to White Adam.
Okay.
And, because he's down in South Carolina and, he's like literally like not even an hour, probably an hour from Charlotte. I'm like, hey, 45 cents, go see the Falcons. This man told me, now, we love sports. You always talk about me and my college football. This man told me I would go but Liverpool and Manchester United play at 11:30.
Yo, that's what it's like being a Falcons fan. Like I got all this gear, I got hats, I got this is a birthday gift. This towel over here. Oh, sorry, over here is a birthday gift. I have hats behind me, multiple jerseys. I'm not buying another piece of apparel until they have a winning
Still ain't
season.
even figured that out yet. Still,
Yo, I turn my head this way and
see,
still look the
am I
world.
pointing at you? I don't even know. Like,
Towels
it's
over
this
there.
one. See, it's the
This is a
wrong hand.
birthday gift. My name's at the top. I love it. But yeah, I'm not spending. I went to the game because I bought the tickets because I thought Aaron Rodgers was gonna be playing because I bought the tickets in the summer. As soon as the schedule came out, I bought the tickets just because I didn't want Aaron Rodgers to have a great season with the Jets. And Jersey, New York, this area, they love the hype and the price. Like real quick tangent, we'll get back on target, get to playoffs. Beyonce concert tickets were like $500 to see her in Philly. I could have flown to Nashville or Minneapolis, bought tickets, and it would have been cheaper for the flight and the tickets to the concert to fly there and watch her than it was for any show in the show in Philly and the two she did in MetLife. It's just the same show. It's just this area, they love to hype the price of the ticket. So I figured as soon as Aaron Rodgers said he was going to sign, the schedule came out. Because at first, Atlanta, I don't think the Jets and Atlanta were on the schedule. And then I saw it, and I saw that it was going to be at MetLife. So I got my tickets this summer. So I think I spent like 150 each, maybe 175. But I was in the second row. I wanted to be close, but it ended up raining the whole time. So if I would have waited to that day of, I probably could have bought those same tickets for $75 somewhere else in the stadium because it rained the entire game. And it was like a cold rain, and it just literally rained the whole game. But that's the thing when it comes to like sometimes being a sports fan, especially being a Falcons sports fan is tough. But being a Rams fan preseason, it probably thought it was going to be tough. Everybody, because like I said, you and I, granted, we're not national pundits just yet. I guess technically we are. We have fans all over the country. We had them, 5-12, 4-13, and just slowly but surely they just kept grinding. I think the Super Bowl. I think a lot of players are still left from the team, the coaching staff, the quarterback. I just feel like they're going to be better prepared for the grind. I'm not sure Seattle can hold on. I'm pretty sure the New Orleans Saints offensive line and offensive group are completely sick of Derek Carr because the offensive lineman was yelling at him. He was yelling at the tight end a few weeks ago when he dropped the pass. I think they're probably sick of him. Like I said, somebody in NFC South is going to get in. The Giants, I don't think they're going to get to 9-8. I don't think the Bears are going to get to 9-8. The Bears are kind of baffling me with this desire to win games, unless they're just kind of banking on the fact that they're going to get the best player in the draft with the number one pick, and they'll do whatever with Justin Fields and their other pick to move around. So I don't think I'm assuming, and they're just letting him showcase his talent so they can maybe steal Atlanta's first round pick for the next couple of years. Or what was the other team? Somebody saw it was like a rumor.
I can't even remember. It wasn't Minnesota, was it?
It might have been. But you got Minnesota at 7-6, and they're at 6. Then you got Green Bay at 6-7. So I think the NFC has the better
the better odds, I guess, or
the better odds, better chances of a couple of teams that are currently under 500, whereas the AFC seems to be pretty locked in.
Well, I don't think the Raiders win another game after tonight because, as always, I looked at the schedule. And the Raiders they go to Arrowhead next week. They go to Indy the week after that, and then they close with Denver. So the Raiders may not win another game. I originally, before I looked at the schedules, my answer was the Rams. But then I looked at the schedule. And I don't even know why I'm going to say this, but I'm going to say it. After I looked at the schedules, I came up with Green Bay because they get Tampa at home this week.
Okay.
They go to Carolina next week.
Okay, that's a win.
Go to Minnesota.
Division, yeah.
And then they close with the Bears at home. So they couldn't lose to the Bears, though. The Rams.
So you basically have Green Bay at 10-7, essentially.
Yeah.
From 6-7 to 6-7 to about 9-8. Then 9-8, or you got them winning out for the rest. You got them winning 4 games in a row.
I could see them losing to the Bears. I could see them losing to the Bears, but those 3 other teams, not so much. Like, I think they beat Tampa this week. I think they beat Carolina. Minnesota, the only reason I'm picking them over Minnesota is because obviously Minnesota has a quarterback problem. They're starting Nick Mullins this week. So, I feel pretty safe they'll get at least 3 wins. But I feel like the Rams will get 3 wins because the Rams have Washington this week. They got the Saints next week, but not at the House of Horrors. They go to MetLife to play the Giants. And then they close at San Francisco. So it just depends
that could
on
be an 8-9 situation.
Well, it just depends on what. For one, it depends on, is San Francisco locked into the 1 seed by then? And maybe they'll sit some starters.
They would need Dallas and Philly to lose their week
just
17 game.
Yeah, just once.
So at week 18, that 17th game, they can sit guys if they want.
Right.
But
and then,
Dallas and Philly both have to lose.
Seattle, like I said, they got Philly this week, so that's tough. But then from there, they go to Tennessee, they get Pittsburgh, and then they close at Arizona. Problem for Seattle is they got swept by the Rams.
Tiebreakers.
Tiebreakers.
So that's the same problem that Buffalo has. They have bad AFC losses, and they don't have a lot of tiebreakers.
Yeah, because Buffalo lost to Denver on Monday Night Football.
They lost to the Jets.
They lost to the Jets.
But they beat Miami.
Well, they beat Miami. Well, they beat the Jets the second time. They split with the Jets.
But it's the conference.
They lost to New England.
They lost to New England. So they have bad losses in conference. So when the tiebreakers come down, that is I think that's probably the second or third one is your in conference record.
Right.
The head match them at the end. So they have silly losses. They should not have a loss to the Jets, Denver, and New England.
Right.
Especially at the times when they had them, because the Jets have been terrible. That was right after the Aaron Rodgers injury, literally that game. Denver was struggling. They were kind of a little bit, but they weren't really moving. And then Patriots are, top 3 pick in the NFL draft, so they shouldn't have lost them either.
Right. The Saints have a pretty good schedule if they could get their shit together, because they play the Giants this week at home. They go to LA, so next week could be an elimination game with the Rams. They get Tampa. They go to Tampa, and then they close with Atlanta. So it's all in front of the Saints.
It's all in front of them, but I just
don't think they're good enough.
Yeah, the way I think they are good enough as far as talent. I just don't think they're gelled. I'm not. For instance, having a guy like Jameis Winston as your backup quarterback, and the starting quarterback seems to not have a very great relationship with the players. And I know for a fact Jameis does.
Yeah.
I don't think Jameis has an enemy. I literally don't. I don't know why the Saints didn't give him more of a shot. I don't know why they wouldn't got Derek Carr. I'm not sure if quarterback was that big of a $130+ million need when you had a guy like Jameis. They had an interception problem, but he had the LASIK surgery, and he was doing good before he tore his ACL. And, a couple of seasons ago.
All right, so we got to talk about the Falcons, right?
What they got left? Because
they got at Carolina this week.
That's a win. Shout out 7-7.
Next week, they go back to the compressor to play the Colts. Then they got a sneaky game at Chicago. And then they close at the House of Horrors.
So 7-10, like every year.
Tampa Bay.
Bring back Arthur Smith. Yeah.
Tampa Bay at Green Bay. Oh, let me go ahead and say Tampa Bay's done. Let's just say that. At Green Bay this week.
Okay.
Jacksonville at home next week. Saints at home, and then they close at Carolina. So they'll get Carolina, and that's about it, probably.
So they'll roll around 7-10 as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hell, I mean, it might be enough realistically because you can't be 7-10 and make the playoffs.
But the Giants, they can,
like, mathematically, like,
you could,
somebody's gonna, like, if it works out that way, some pundit on TV. So that means New Orleans, Tampa Bay, and Atlanta
all 7-10
could all be 7-10.
All right, so then the Giants play that Vince McMahon. No chance in hell, because they got Philly twice. They're gonna lose at least one of them.
DeVito, and like I love DeVito's story. Like literally, like I said, the family that I know, they went up there just to support him as a player.
Here you go. Look, Giants at New Orleans.
Okay.
At Philly.
Yep.
Home for the Rams.
Yep.
Home for Philly.
Yeah, it was cool. It was a nice little run.
Yeah, it was a nice. It was a nice try.
Tommy DeVito's agent on TV with the hat that looks like a mafia. Yeah, looks like a mafia cleanup, man.
So another team that has it in front of them. They ain't gonna do shit, but they got it in front of them. Tennessee. Yeah, Houston this week. I know CJ Stroud had a concussion. I haven't heard anything about his status.
Last thing I read as of like 4 hours ago, he still was in protocol. We're at Thursday night, so
yeah. Then they got Seattle at home. They go to Houston, and then they close with Jacksonville, and we got a touchdown, folks. 63-20. 63-20.
Imagine if
I think there's a flag down. Like, imagine if you were like me, who was like, yeah, the Raiders are going to win 17-13, and then you went and put your money out on the under.
Yeah. They got a flag. What's the flag?
It's holding. Coming on back. Never mind. Bring it on back.
The dude was holding a punter.
Yeah, they're showing the replay now.
He was holding a punter by the ankle, right?
Well, he like pulled him, like he grabbed him and like fell, but I don't know. I don't know if I would have called that. So Jordan Love scares me. I know I picked Green Bay. Yeah, here it is right here.
Up. That's not all.
I don't like that call. I don't like the call. But Jordan Love's inconsistency scares me, because I did pick Green Bay in this conversation. Aaron Jones is scheduled to be back this weekend, but I don't know if he's ever going to play a full game ever again in his career. Every time, like, he's got Grant Hill syndrome.
He might be. Remember our healing time conversation we had the other day? He might be a person that could benefit from that. Like, yo, I know you love the game.
Just chill.
You'll get 2 more years if you sit for the rest of this year.
And by the way, AJ Dillon has a broken thumb. So I think Seattle's done. Geno Smith's back at practice, but still questionable for Monday night. Giants are a cute story. Rams defied our odds. So shout out to the Rams, even if they don't make the playoffs.
Yo, McVay, like you're proving that. I mean, like I said, especially this year with some of the bad coaching decisions we've seen and the coaches that we all kind of deem are going to get fired, for a guy that was ready to walk away and go to the booth.
Yeah. And I mean, they just went to overtime with Baltimore.
Yeah. And if it wasn't for like 2 blocking the back calls, it would have been a tie game.
There you go.
It was definitely 2. It was 2.
It was definitely 2. Yeah.
It was 2 at the mesh point. That's the thing that blows my, like, people always get on the refs.
I love that, the mesh point.
I get it. I get it that the refs aren't going to make every call.
Right.
But I've watched, like I said, I watched a lot of football over the last few years, and I'm like, I get it. You're not gonna get every call, but you got to get the call where the ball is, because everyone, if there's 4 referees on the field, 2 of the 4 have to be watching where the ball is.
Right.
So if there's a block in the back where the runner is running through the open hole, one of you had to see it.
One of y'all.
If it's a hold, like at the point where the ball is, or when they miss a face mask on the ball carrier, it's like it's 4 of y'all looking to mark the spot. So how you miss the face mask on the dude carrying the ball when all you need to be focused on at this point is the dude carrying the ball? That's the kind of stuff that, like, I get you might miss the block in the back. You might miss the hold on the other side. You might miss a defensive pass interference or illegal contact or whatever the case may be. You might miss if a guy steps out of bounds on a touchdown. Get that. You might miss if he fumbled or not because it's so fast.
Mm-hmm.
But this, when the dude's running with the ball, I don't know how you missed that.
Yeah, I don't know how you missed that, but shout out to Tylan Wallace of Oklahoma State fame, with the touchdown to win the game.
He ran his ass off.
But yeah, I think it's Green Bay just based on the schedule. Obviously, I can change my mind if San Francisco clinches the 1 seed early.
As the facts change, so does my opinion.
There you go. Just like this week, right? If Detroit can figure it out, they clinch a playoff berth with a win.
I still haven't picked that game, and so I'll let you go in order. But
yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna start it off with the top. I told you the spoiler alert earlier. I told you last week the Buffalo Bills are live. They got this 9-11 vibe about them. You know what I'm saying? So I
better get this canceled.
I'm taking Buffalo over Dallas. So Dallas has won 5 in a row, and they've averaged 40.2 points during that stretch. Their defense is 4th in the league, only giving up 17.9 points a game. Buffalo's offense is 5th, scoring 26.8. So rubber meet road, something got to give. Josh Allen, one thing that I do know, he going to give Dallas a turnover or 2.
Bland's getting the pick 6.
But one thing that I do know, Josh Allen going to get some touchdowns. Number 1 in total touchdowns, number 2 in passing touchdowns, but he's thrown a pick in 9 straight games.
9 straight games. And he's still top 10 MVP odds.
Jordan Love ain't even done that.
I don't think anybody's done that.
But I'm telling you right now, you heard it here first. Buffalo got the win in Arrowhead last week. They're cooking with grease. That was I told you, remember we talked before the season started, and you said, should Buffalo feel disappointed? Or should they feel like they can get to the Super Bowl? And I said, yeah, only thing standing in their way is Kansas City and Cincinnati. Joe Burrow's gone. They showed you what they could do to Miami already this season. Sorry, Chris.
Weird.
Beat Miami by 20. That's what they did. Held them to 21 points, if I remember correctly. Then, they beat Kansas City last week at Arrowhead. So we can look at the whole season as a total picture. But for the time being, I'm going to look at the present. And they got momentum. They cooking. I'm picking the Bills.
Yeah, cool. So I don't know why. I like to argue. I do. I love it. And one of my favorite sports shows to watch is First Things First. Nick Wright, not a big Buffalo guy, and sometimes I don't agree with his takes when it comes to quarterbacks, but he does say something. He argues. He has a very articulate point of view when it comes to Buffalo. He's like, everyone ignores all of the history, like all of the recent history for Buffalo, and they pick out like one thing and they just ride with it. I don't know where Buffalo's momentum is from, considering they only scored 20 points against Kansas City and the 20th point came late in the
The
fourth.
momentum is that they won in Arrowhead. It's not about how they won. It's not about how they won. They just got to beat Kansas City. It's about their psyche.
But they beat Kansas City every year in the regular season.
If they would have beat,
they beat Kansas City in the regular season like last 2 years.
If they lost that game last week, I would have got up here and said their season was over.
But that's okay. So how do you go from momentum? Like, how is it that the result of one game?
It's about the mindset. It's about the mindset.
But if one game, I don't know how one game can propel you to the depths of your season being over if you lose, but launches you into the stratosphere to where you're beating the upper echelon teams the following week because you got one win.
Well, look at. I'm not saying that this is going to happen.
Dallas's average. You said 40 points in the last 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Buffalo hasn't played a team like that.
I'm not saying.
They scored 12 points against the Giants with Tyrod Taylor as a quarterback.
I'm not saying that this is going to happen, but
I just don't know
say Tennessee wins out. Say Tennessee wins out, or they go 3-1 in their last 4 games, and let's just say they sneak in the wild card somehow. We're gonna point back to that Monday night game against Miami.
Yeah, but we don't determine that game as momentum the week after it happens. We let other things play out.
We know that Buffalo is a good team. We know Buffalo is a good team that lost bad games.
No, we don't. They're 7-6. We have no evidence to support that they are any much better than Atlanta. Atlanta stops Tampa Bay. Check it out. Atlanta stops Tampa Bay after Atlanta scores. They stop Tampa Bay. Atlanta 7-6. Buffalo 7-6. Do we have any evidence that says Atlanta's a good team? No, they're 7-6. They are what their record is. The NFL that's what it is. Like, you are what your record is. Buffalo is 7-6 because Buffalo commits penalties more in more crucial moments than any other team. They lose bad games.
How long ago was that loss to the Jets?
It was week 1.
How long ago was that loss to the Patriots?
Few weeks back.
It was about 5-6 weeks ago. That loss to Denver was about 4 weeks ago.
But look how they lost. That's what I'm saying. Look how they lose their games. They don't show me a game where they dominated. It's the same. Like I said, I'll use Atlanta as an example.
You just got to win.
I'll
show you a game that they dominated Miami.
How long ago was that? We're going to use the link
against me. I'm answering your question.
That's what I'm saying.
So that's what I mean.
There's nothing to support that there's a momentum buildup. What we have is a team that is teetering.
Okay, maybe momentum was the wrong word, but my point is they won in
why
Arrowhead.
Does Buffalo always seem, and that's what Nick Wright says, he's like, why do people always give Buffalo way more credit based off the talent that they have?
Nick Wright, you know what Nick Wright is?
We're talking about the Buffalo argument. He's not always on point. He's not always on point.
You know what Nick Wright is?
He's a front runner for the Kansas City. Absolutely. Absolutely, 100%. But even the Brooklyn clock is right twice a day.
The same way that I asked you how long ago those games were, and then you turned around and said, how long ago was that Miami game? Nick Wright is the LeBron fan saying that people only treat LeBron like this because he's chasing Jordan. Nick Wright only feels this way about Buffalo because Josh Allen was compared to Patrick Mahomes.
I'm not denying that. I am not denying
now Chargers got a touchdown.
Yes, I'm not denying that is a point of interest in these conversations. But also, we cannot ignore the win-loss record for the talent. Houston, Buffalo. If you had to just look at those teams in a vacuum, who is a more talented team on paper? Buffalo, correct? Would you agree to that? I gotta
look at it because Buffalo's missing some players, man. They missing Trey White. They missing Milano. They're not the same.
They're missing a couple of defensive players. They still got Von Miller. They still have Poyer. They still have Micah Hyde. They still have Trayvon. They still have defensive backfield players that I can name. I'm not in the team.
As well change his name.
Gabe Davis. He's open.
I don't even think he had a catch last week against Kansas City.
Because Josh Allen misses him. I'm not saying that they're a bad team. I am not arguing that Buffalo's a bad team. What I'm saying is that people get very high on Buffalo.
Okay, so how about this?
Because
So how
they
about this?
have talent.
So how
They
about
are
this?
a mediocre team
If
with
the
a
playoffs were
mediocre coach
today,
that just fired their offensive coordinator 2 weeks
if the
ago.
playoffs
How was a
started
team?
today, if the playoffs started today,
I would not pick Buffalo.
I'm not saying that you were going to pick them to go to the Super Bowl, but let's just say hypothetically the playoffs started today, and Buffalo played, let's say, Baltimore. I don't think that's an automatic win for Baltimore.
I think it's an automatic win for
I
Baltimore.
don't think it's an automatic win.
I think it's an
I would
automatic win
probably
for
pick
Baltimore.
Baltimore to win
What's
because
the
it's at
identity?
home.
What's the identity of Buffalo? What can Buffalo rest their hat on? What
Rushing
can
the
they rest
ball.
their?
The one
No,
thing
they
we said
don't.
they couldn't do. The
They
one thing we said
don't
they
do
couldn't
that.
do.
They don't do that at all. They
They're
don't
much
run the
better at
ball.
rushing this year than they were last year.
That doesn't mean that they do it well. That just means they did it better than they did it poorly last year. We remember those 3rd and 2s when he was throwing 40-yard bombs. They haven't done anything different. The Buffalo team that we've seen for the last 3 years, they are a talented team. I would take some of their players onto my favorite team. I'm pretty sure you would take a few of those guys in the Washington.
I would take them over Jacksonville in a playoff game.
I would take Jacksonville.
I would take Buffalo.
I can't. I don't. I
would take Buffalo over Cleveland in a playoff game. I would take Buffalo over.
I take Buffalo over Cleveland because I don't know what Joe Flacco can give me. But that's the only reason. But even with that, I think Myles Garrett will still get me.
The only two
I
teams.
think Myles Garrett will get me a fumble. I think Myles Garrett will give me a strip sack.
That I would take over Buffalo in the playoffs is Baltimore, just because it's in Baltimore. I would still probably take Buffalo over Miami.
I just don't see. I don't see the evidence. I understand the feeling, and I understand the projection.
Just because they don't beat Kansas City in the playoff for whatever reason.
I just don't like I said, I get the whole Nick Wright. Nick Wright does go off the deep end with a lot of
just
players.
Like you. Here's one for you. Like I know that you're a big Mahomes guy, and obviously Kansas City is on some shit right now. You said they were going to lose in the first round, probably.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. You know what I'm saying? Like in a playoff situation, playoff started, whatever. What team in the AFC are you picking to beat Kansas City?
I would take Miami.
Okay.
I'd take Baltimore.
Okay.
I'd take Cleveland. And I'd be halfway inclined if Denver got in. I don't my thing with Kansas City is that, and it's the same thing I have with Buffalo. It's not a matter of I don't think they're good teams.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that as a professional defensive coordinating a defensive staff, I know how to neutralize them because we have seen this entire year Buffalo makes terrible short yardage calls. 3rd and 2, they're always throwing it deep. They don't run the ball effectively. Like they don't run the ball effectively. They throw screen passes. Josh Allen runs the ball, and they're like 3rd and 2, they're throwing it. Like I said, they only had 20 points against Kansas City. Kansas City is a good defense. They only scored 12 against the Giants at full strength. They lost to the Patriots. They lost to the Jets. I know these are like, it's a long season.
Right.
I just don't feel as if they fired their offensive coordinator. I just don't feel like you fire your offensive coordinator in the middle of the season and you sprinkle in a couple of victories and all of a sudden you turn it around. You still got McDermott as your head coach, who's a defensive head coach.
So for the record,
I just don't have faith that they can lock in. Dude, but like I said, the same thing with the Chiefs is like I don't think any other the wide receivers on Kansas City in 3rd and 7 consistently can get you get open in the 8-yard route other than Kelsey.
For the record, Buffalo's 9th in the league in rushing, 2nd in yards per carry.
But honestly, no one runs the ball, but they don't run it effectively. They don't run it to control the clock. They don't run it. They don't control games. Everything's a toss-up.
Watch what they do to Dallas.
Yo, they're gonna get stomped by Dallas. 14 points. Dallas is going to crush Buffalo. Because first of all, within the first couple of possessions, Josh Allen is notorious for throwing the ball to the defense at least one or two times. Dallas takes those things back to the house, and Dallas believes in every player on team with star on a helmet. Buffalo gets down 10-0 in the first quarter. Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen are going to need to be separated on the sideline. That's why the offensive coordinator is in the booth, so he doesn't have to deal with Stephon Diggs on the sideline. Think about that.
Getting
I want to
TO
be
levels.
Yeah, I'm like, I need to be up here because I can't deal with Stephon Diggs. I guarantee you that factors in.
All right,
because there's no like I need to look in my quarterback's eyes and know that this next drive he can make it happen. I can't get that over the phone because I'm way up in the booth.
You ready? You ready for this one?
Yeah.
Give me Jacksonville over Baltimore.
Nah, man. Trevor Lawrence has been hearing the noise, and he's been trying to throw the ball all crazy.
Sunday Night Football.
3 touchdowns,
they lost their
3
last
picks.
2 games by a combined 7 points.
Yeah, I'll take Baltimore because even though, like I said, I took Lamar out of the MVP race because I think the MVP is the MOP. I need you need to be outstanding. You can't just be
the Heisman.
Yeah, it's the Heisman. Like realistic, it's the Heisman. The last 10 winners have been quarterbacks with outstanding numbers. And the second and third place guys.
Adrian Peterson?
Adrian Peterson is probably the last non-quarterback, if I could believe.
I know Derrick Henry should have got one. Gurley should have got one, but
Derrick Henry definitely should have got one. We went over 2,000 yards.
Yeah, Gurley should have got one.
Yeah, but I'll take Baltimore. Even I'm not a big fan of like their passing offense. I just think that they have the defensive players that can make the play. I don't think Oluokun is a great tackler. I don't know if the Jacksonville secondary makes splash plays, like game-changing plays. Like, sometimes some secondaries, they just have that player that can just make the play, that can just come downhill, make the play.
Well, they are fourth against the run, so I would love to see them make Lamar beat them and see if Lamar can do it.
So I'll take Baltimore there.
All right, then Saturday. Let's go to Saturday.
I cannot believe you were that adamant against Dallas, though. Like, I get it's America's team, but like they're averaging 40 points in the last month.
Hey, if the
Atlanta hasn't scored over 40 points in 5 years.
If the NFL hasn't shown you anything in this past week, it's shown you that it don't make sense.
And yeah, today 63-21. And it looks like the Meineke Car Care Bowl.
Right? But so Saturday, you ready?
What we got?
Give me the Broncos over the Lions.
All right. Convince me why the Broncos, because I'm still torn.
Because Detroit's been looking like shit for the last month. So when I look back at this, obviously they lost to the Bears this past week. Okay. I'm not going to knock them for that. The Bears have been playing a lot better.
They jumped off sides on 4th and 13.
They did. But
what are you doing? And then you give up a touchdown.
Remember 2 weeks ago you came on these very airwaves and you said
probably said something outlandish.
No. No, I'm just recapping. You said I was talking to my pops and I was like, hold up, Detroit won that game? That was the first time they played Chicago. Then we just got done talking about the Saints and how, they ain't going to get it together, their offensive line, all that stuff we talked about the Saints. Detroit had a 21-0 lead on the same Saints and held on to win 33-28. They lost that Thursday night game at Lambeau. When we were sitting up here.
Game.
No, but I'm just saying this is just a pattern over like consecutive weeks is what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is Detroit's just not playing their best football right now. So I fear, here comes the so to speak moment. They shot their load early. You know, they came out. They were like 6-2 at one point or something like that, and
I believe they were 8-2.
You know, and everybody they've lost 2 out of their last 3. You know, like they're just.
Is it like the thing with Philly where you just ran up against a couple teams that just kind of had your number?
So I know with Philly before they played Dallas, this week, we both kind of agreed that maybe Philly's getting bored or whatever. You know, like their eye is off the prize right now. But Detroit ain't in a position to be like that because they're Detroit. You know, so and Jared Goff is looking like, you know, he was my MVP early in the season. Now he's looking like
I thought he should have been. I thought he should have been in the conversation a little bit more than he was. Yeah,
and now he's looking like 13-3 Super Bowl Jared Goff. You know, so that's where, like, for me, Denver is just they're playing with momentum, even though they've lost. They're playing with momentum. Like they went on that little streak that they went on until a couple.
I think they won 5 in a row.
Right.
The problem I have with Denver, I mean, it boils down to I don't trust Sean Payton to be. I don't trust Sean Payton to keep the team locked in if it doesn't start off well. It's very similar to how I feel about the relationship between Stephon Diggs. I'm not listen, I'm not trying to shit on Stephon Diggs or anything. I don't think he's like a loose cannon.
Yeah.
I just noticed that, you know, as a team that this guy like kind of needs the ball. Like you know his level of passion, you understand it. He doesn't do anything outrageous. He just really gets into it. And they don't really like design the first few plays or like get him like a touch pass, a jet sweep, get him something, get the ball in his hands, let him make a play because he's dynamic with the ball in his hand.
Mm-hmm.
With Sean Payton, I just feel as if he's one of those coaches that wants credit before the game starts. And when it doesn't go well, he looks at it as if you're chipping away at my credibility. Because sometimes it's like, because he'll chew Russ out for throwing it incomplete so they can punt the ball. Like I seen him like looking, you know, like he'll like, you know, me mug Russ or whatever the case would be. Like, listen, man, hey, next drive, cool. Any drive that ends in the kick is a good drive. Next time, I need you to see this. This is primary. I need you to see that. Or if we check to this, whatever the case would be. I just feel like every time it doesn't go well, Sean Payton treats it as if I don't look great.
I could see that.
And Dan Campbell was like, listen, I'm trying to bite these kneecaps. Get your dentures ready. We biting folks. Put your fangs
Best press conference ever.
Folks. So I think in those toss-up games, I go with that relationship, coach-team relationship. I just don't have a lot of faith in Sean Payton as just like that. I think just that his demeanor, I think his arrogance, I think his contract, I think all of it fed into it. He's like the Draymond Green of coaches, where it's just like, I can't do no wrong here.
Can you imagine?
You're messing this up for me. Like, you're making me look bad. I'm Super Bowl winning coach Sean Payton. You are Russell Wilson, who threw an interception to give Tom Brady his 4 Super Bowl rings. Like, that's the kind of like vibe I get from Sean Payton.
Can you imagine next year when John Gruden's back in that division?
It's not enough room for the ego. And Andy Reid's gonna be at press conferences like, I'm Andy Reid.
You know, I looked around. I tried to find it because I know we both like to do the Mike Tomlin thing.
Correct.
But then I saw Mitchell Trubisky again, and I said, "Nah, give me the Colts."
I did the same thing. It doesn't make sense to me that Trubisky is so far behind Watson and Mahomes when he's been in the league the same amount of time.
But what I'm afraid of, though, is that I don't know how much, if better, Kenny Pickett is than Trubisky.
Oh, neither one of them. They're both awful.
Like, that's strange times up in Pittsburgh. But You know,
It might be that time where Pittsburgh. I know they have a tradition of keeping their coaches for. I think at this
ever.
point they're about 40. They're about 45 years. I think 40, probably
Like
close
they've
to
had like
50.
3 coaches or something like that.
Like Chuck Noll, I think he started maybe
70
60,
something, 60
69,
something.
70
Yeah.
something, 79, maybe 69 or 79. But it was definitely so he was the coach for a while, and then it was Bill Cowher,
Mm-hmm.
and Bill Cowher, and then it was Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, and I rock with that. I like that as a construct for continuity, but they need an overhaul in Pittsburgh because Kenny Pick is not the answer.
Right.
He's a backup. He's a backup quarterback.
Mm.
They were better off going after Winston.
With the glove.
The glove upsets me. The glove upsets me the most. When Michael
That's
Vick
why I
was
brought
playing
it
with
up.
gloves,
That's
when
why I
Michael
brought
Vick
it
was
up.
playing with gloves, a couple times it upset
And
me.
Ben used to wear gloves.
If it's super cold, I get it, but I think Tom Brady played in a wetsuit in the AFC Championship game against City because it was so cold. He
Yeah.
played in like scuba gear. But I don't know if he wore gloves. I know he wore scuba gear under his jersey. I'm like, this dude really wants to win.
Yeah.
Man out
All
there,
right.
like he's trying to snorkel.
So over in the Queen City, and I'm confused because I've always known Charlotte to be the Queen City, but I guess Cincinnati is known as the Queen City too. But
That's new. I've been to
yeah,
Cincinnati. That's new information to me.
you know what I'm saying? But one of these days I'm gonna get me some Skyline chili. You know what I'm saying? I looked up the recipe up on the internet. So we're gonna make some Skyline chili at the crib, but I want to go to Cincinnati and actually get the Skyline chili. But while we talking about Cincinnati on Saturday, they got the Vikings with Nick Mullins coming through, not
Yeah, we're gonna take
Joshua
the
Dobbs,
Bengals. We'll
taking
take
the
the
Bengals.
Bengals. Yeah.
So I was doing some looking around and everything, and I was like, this man, Jake Browning, is really completing 75.5% of his passes. You know,
Watching the
when
Huskies.
and we were, because I'm sure most of America thought like once Burrow went down, it was over.
Yeah, we said it on this show.
It is over as far as like going to the Super Bowl, but they might still
is
make
it?
the playoffs.
It might not be that far over because all you need. People always say the quarterback is the most important position. Is most a quarterback that can make
overrated
plays.
line in sports.
It's completely the most overrated.
I remember we had this argument.
What it does, I personally think, the offensive line is the most important group.
Gotta have that
on a football team. Just the offensive line in general. I think those are the most important positions on a football field. I can make anything happen with NFL talent, every other position. But if I have elite NFL talent at offensive line, shut it down.
I learned that from Alabama. Winning titles with Blake Sims and Greg McElroy and everybody else.
Greg McElroy went 6 for 14 for like 71 yards in that game, the national championship game against Texas.
So Minnesota, though, they're coming off the shutout of the Raiders, who just put.
Is Jefferson going to play? Because I know he got rocked last week by the Raiders.
Yes, he is going to play. That was scary because when I first saw it, I was like,
that was a punctured lung.
Yeah, like I was like I ain't trying to go DeMar Hamlin part 2. That's what that was what I was thinking. Like
that's where a veteran quarterback would have thrown it a little bit to the left.
Dobbs should have got benched right after that.
So he could have fallen down and not. That's what Tom Brady was talking about, a lot of bad quarterback play.
Yeah, as soon as Dobbs made that throw, he should have been benched. Especially it was Jefferson's first game back too. But but Minnesota is top 10 in total defense. Brian Flores doing a great job, so I want to give him some flowers.
He'll be a head coach somewhere next year.
5th against the run, he better be. Maybe, I mean, if he wasn't a defensive dude, I would say the Chargers better holler at him. But I know teams don't like to do the back-to-back. If this doesn't work, like if that doesn't work, which is dumb. Like, just get you a good coach.
But he was a really good coach in Miami. Like he had Tua look like a competent quarterback.
He suffered from Matt Castle syndrome, where you were like 10-6 or 11-5, and you just didn't make the playoffs because the records just didn't pan out that way. Like, that's all it was. So then, give me. We already know. Give me Green Bay. Over Tampa, up in Lambeau.
I'm taking that.
Especially if I look at this weather, because I don't know if this is still a thing, but there was a point in time. I want to say back when Rondé Barber and them were, still on their Bucks. It was something like they were 0-27 when it was
in games
40
under like
degrees
30.
or below.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was something like that. So,
I remember seeing that on Fox, like one of those crazy under 40-degree stats.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go.
Or it might have been teams from Florida or something like that in Green Bay. That's that temperature threshold, that 40 degrees.
Yeah, it was something like that. Yeah, but so give me Green Bay. I know, and I mentioned it earlier. I know Washington is going to come out like a house on fire after losing to the bye last week. But nothing has changed about that secondary. They didn't go sign somebody. There ain't no Stephon Gilmore walking through that door. Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp. It's time to get loose.
Yeah.
It's time to get loose. So, give me Rams by about 17.
Nah, I will say 27, 20.
No, I ain't saying that. I'm saying 31 to 13.
17.
31 to 13.
They throw the ball too much in Washington not to get a couple of touchdowns off of just pass interference calls.
Yeah, did I see
some kind of action?
I saw somebody, I love that fantasy football is so important. I saw somebody yesterday posting that Sam Howell had more fantasy points than Patrick Mahomes this season.
Yeah.
So go on and give me Kansas City.
Yo, is Bill Belichick gonna mess up New England's draft stock by just coaching his ass off for the next 4 weeks?
Yes, but they still gonna lose this game. They still gonna lose this game. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't imagine
Kansas City, but I'm gonna check the odds before I gamble on it.
Well, it's one of those things, right?
I think they're like 12.5-point favorites too.
Well, we talked about this during college football where we said, like, well, can Alabama really lose 2 games at home? Like, the Chiefs are at the point where it's like they can't lose another one in a row like that. They just can't lose another one.
They can't lose to New England. If they had a game
Buffalo
against Baltimore, if they lost a game against Buffalo, like Buffalo's schedule, like right now, Buffalo played Kansas City last week, Dallas this week. You lose both of those games, makes sense.
Yeah, and they had Philly before the bye.
Yeah, and they had Philly before the bye. Philly played San Francisco and Dallas, and now they got Seattle. So it's like, okay, you probably won't lose to Seattle. But you get a couple of tough games back-to-back against teams that you match up well against who has playmakers. I get it. But, yeah, I don't know if you can slide into Gillette Stadium and let Bailey Zappi
let's play a game then. You. Let's play a game then. Kansas City at home this week. At Denver next week. At Buffalo the week after.
They're not New England. I thought they were in New England this week.
No, that's what I said. Like, they got Chiefs at home this week. Go to Denver.
You're talking about New England.
I'm talking about the Chiefs. I'm talking about New England, yeah.
Okay.
Go to Denver next week. Buffalo at home on New Year's Eve. And then Jets coming in to finish the season. 2-2? They get Buffalo again?
I don't know if they get Buffalo again because I think Buffalo will be playing for a championship. So they're 3-10 right now. So you're asking me if they're gonna finish the season
5-12.
5-12. Who they got next week?
At Denver.
Best I can give you is 4-13, with the Jets being that fourth win.
All right. Well, since we're talking about it, all right, you ready? So, oh shit, hold on, hit the wrong button. All right, here we go. So Chiefs. Yeah, they go to Gillette this week.
Okay, 9-5.
Home for the Raiders.
10-5.
Home for Cincinnati. Oh wow!
I'm thinking
Final Jeopardy.
I'm thinking because I'm trying to figure out Can Cincinnati keep the ball long? Can Cincinnati get to 21 to 24 points? Because I don't think the Raiders can offensively. Because the Chiefs have been struggling to get to 24 points. I think they can get to 20 or 21. I think the Chiefs can beat New England and the Raiders 20 to 17. I just don't know if Cincinnati can get you to 21. Because, like I said, the Chiefs haven't shown me much as far as like getting over 20 points.
Mm-hmm. And then they close at the Chargers, so that'll be a win.
That'll be a win. Because I don't think Herbert's coming back.
Yeah, he's out for the year. Yep.
Yeah, so
okay.
I'll
something to think about,
11-6, 10-7. Either way, 10-7. 10-7 will look like a disappointment. 11-6 will look like optimism. We talked about but 10-7 will look like the world.
If Belichick can pull this off, and Denver can beat Detroit, like I think they will,
they'll be tied.
We got a tied division. Give me Miami over the Jets.
Makes sense.
I know Zach Wilson had the best game of his career last week.
Yeah, he couldn't do that again on Madden.
They did struggle when they played up in MetLife a couple of weeks ago on Black Friday against Tim Boyle, but it was just Tim Boyle.
That was weird. I think it might have been a situation where Mike McDaniels,
they were too overconfident.
They ate Thanksgiving food. They probably be eating turkey in the locker room before the game. They saw Tim Boyle stats. People were saying him in the game.
That nasty ass New York pizza.
Pause. First of all, this pizza is great. It's the greatest pizza on earth.
It's not true.
Hands down. In the competition, New York pizza. Why Max Crosby always taking his shirt off? Like you're doing an interview. Be a professional. Yeah, New York pizza is incredible. Jersey pizza is top notch, top tier. And the Jets are not.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, Miami, they struggle because I think they just were trying stuff.
Or it was just a division game, they
just look like they were just trying stuff.
I still can't believe the pick six on a Hail Mary.
That's the type of stuff that happens when you play for the Jets. It's like that's the thing. It's like
this. And I do like Robert Saleh. Yeah.
I think Saleh
this week.
He got it right. He definitely got a mulligan year, and he was lucky.
Yeah.
Because Aaron Rodgers plays this year out, and they aren't a number 2 or 3 seed in the AFC right now, they would be calling for his head.
Yep.
So he got a mulligan. But yeah, I'm still taking Miami just because I was thinking.
All right, ready for another upset?
What you got?
Give me the Chicago Bears.
Give me Cleveland.
To beat the Browns. I'm done with the
Cleveland.
Flacco love affair. Yes, he still throws a pretty spiral. Yes, he looks like he hasn't been out of the league for a year or whatever it's been. But reality hits. Bears.
But does any Bears defenders hit Joe Flacco?
They'll get there.
Where they ranking sacks and quarterback hits? Probably 27th, 25th. There's no threat defensively. Justin Fields is really good. There's no continuity offensively. They just happen to win games.
Quarterback that'll give a defense like the Browns problems. The Browns.
Yeah, not with Myles Garrett up there doing crossovers in front of the center.
Hey, what is
and
it?
Then
13.5 sacks?
Yo, this dude he does what he wants.
Should be in the MVP conversation, but since he ain't breaking a record, he can't be.
Well,
and defensive player of the year, we talked about it.
He'll clearly get defensive player of the year.
Well, maybe Michael Parsons is I think got a 12 or no, Bland.
Michael. Nah, I don't think that's
broke the record for most pick sixes.
Yeah, but I think Dallas being such a good team and Myles Garrett being the whole defensive core of Cleveland is solid. But what Myles Garrett is doing, and he's doing like ridiculous shit, like when he's coming up to the line, he's doing crossovers.
He stirs the drink.
He does like when he jumped over the long snapper to block the field goal.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, most people can't do that without touching the long snapper. And he said, yeah, I guess because I'm me. Like that was his answer. That was the
I
beginning of
am
the year.
him.
He
I
was like,
am him.
he's like, these guys aren't me. So he's up
uh,
literally last week. He was doing the crossover thing. He was doing this, he's doing whatever. He was like, no, he was dancing. He did he was doing like the Cupid shuffle. He was
yeah.
like, he hopped, two hop this time. He was literally doing that. I don't know if he had the music playing in his head, but he did it. And when they snapped the ball, he stunned it around like the tackle. It was like,
Yeah.
yeah, he's doing different stuff. I think Justin Fields will run right into him one or two times, trying to scramble out of the pocket too soon. I don't think Matt Eberflus has a real grip on the offense. I think they just happen to win games like that 12-10 game against Minnesota, like that 4th and 13 shouldn't. Like, first of all, why are you going for 4th and 13? That's just like a weird time to go for it. It
Yeah.
just felt more desperate than anything. 4th and 6, maybe on the fringe, on the edge of like field, but like 4th and 13, you just punt that. Like if that doesn't work, what's the conversation?
Right. Right.
So
back in the day, I don't know if you remember this. There was a movie called Hard Target with Jean-Claude Van Damme. One of my favorite movies in history of life. And the worst thing about it was that it had to end. And sadly, Tommy DeVito's story has to end.
I don't think so. I picked the Giants.
Nah, man.
I'm a little biased, but
he's picking the Giants because I talked about the pizza.
I mean, tell you, pizza, like 7th Street Burger has the best burgers in like New York. Maybe there's more, but like 7th Street Smash Burgers, legit with the sauce, all of that. Slice of pizza, you can get a great slice of pizza in Penn Station. That's how good pizza is in New York City. But that's neither here nor there. I digress. But like I said, I just have no faith in New Orleans. I just think that I just feel like they're just such a flawed organization that's been kind of riding the wave of the Peyton Manning pick six, or excuse me, the Tracy Porter pick six because he picked it off and took it back, and that Super Bowl win, the onside kick. I think they've been riding that wave, and if you think about it, that was 14 years ago, about to be 15 years ago when
that's what I
play
said.
occurred.
When 2-5 Daily, like John Gruden won that Super Bowl 21 years ago.
I was a senior airman. I was deployed to Qatar. We didn't even have hardened buildings. We didn't even have hard. We was eating it.
Yeah, that's the game I told you when I was sleeping on the floor at the Dover terminal when Rondé Barber, took that pick six against McNabb.
Oh, so you were on your way to Qatar then?
Yeah, I was on my way to Qatar for that.
I was in the wagon wheel watching on the big screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we were already there in all these tents. So like that's a long. Like they have a BX. You could deploy it. You could like PCS with your family at IUD. Now. That's how long it's been.
Yeah.
Shout out to Miranda Jackson. Yeah. What's up? C Master Sergeant Miranda Jackson. What up?
You know what I'm saying? But yeah. Hey. I can't even say what I was about to say, but
shout out to Ron. What up? We was deployed together. DeVron was out there. He was out there eating wheats.
I know. I still got a picture of me, him, and her like hanging out in front of the tent.
Did you get on that camel that they brought to
no, I didn't do the camel. I didn't do the camel.
I didn't get on the camel. I was wearing a fresh Nets jersey. So I was like, I'm not getting on this camel. I was wearing some J's too. That was ridiculous in the desert. I'm in Qatar with some Jordans and a fitted on in the jersey.
Yeah, DeVron was like the first Rams fan I ever met.
Yo, he loved St. Louis.
Yeah.
Loved it. He used to do the Nelly Band-Aid thing too. But yeah.
Yep. He's doing that in that picture. I don't know what to do with this because I don't know if CJ Stroud's playing or not. So I guess if he plays, I go with the Texans. If he doesn't, I go with the Titans.
I'm taking the Titans, even though I think Will Levis is like this. There's different types of quarterbacks. Like you have, like I don't really see Josh Allen getting too hyped. Mm-hmm. Zach Wilson stays pretty even killed.
hold on. Look at
Desmond
this.
Ritter's.
So odds to win the NFC South. The Falcons at 160 plus 160. The Saints, it's on your screen now. There you go. You can look at it. It's on your screen now. So the Falcons are the favorite. How about it?
Yeah, they didn't factor in that the coach of the Falcons, his name is Arthur Smith, and he is not creative at all.
Yeah.
And if it works this week, he'll try to use it for the next 3 weeks, and it won't work, and they'll finish the year 7-10.
Yeah, y'all could go 7-10 with Arthur the Aardvark, But
yeah.
But yeah,
so I think we'll.
But how did Tennessee win that game the other night?
I don't know how you. I don't. When you've gone to an NFL game and you sit down and you think, how is it that this NFL team can't go?
You're about to see that favorite for Defensive Player of the Year.
It better be Myles Garrett.
It ain't.
Cap. I'm so sick of the NFL.
Two Cowboys on there. Oh.
That just blew me off. It's like, how do you not get 10 yards? Mm-hmm. Like, how do you come out there knowing we got to get 30 feet with the speed you have at running back, the speed you have at wide receiver? How do you not get we need one first down. The game's over to get a first down.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't get it.
Yeah. I don't know. Should I take the Browns at plus 1,500 to win the AFC?
So $100 wins you to $1,500 plus your 100 back, so $1,600 total.
I mean, should I put?
Are we going to get playoff Joe Flacco?
Should I take Denver at 40 to 1?
I wouldn't take Kansas City at plus 300.
But then of course 49ers over the Cardinals.
It's clear.
49ers got the 1 seed in their sights. They already played Seattle twice.
Why are people still knocking Brock Purdy? Is he supposed to not play the first half so they can be down 17-3 in the second half so he can come back and win?
You know what? I know exactly what you got people on TV saying things, and then people in real life are just repeating what they heard on TV.
Okay, that makes sense.
So people like Nick Wright, who
his argument against Brock Purdy makes zero sense.
And the only reason I even know this is because of you. I don't even watch any of these shows.
It doesn't make any sense. I won't say it doesn't make any sense, but his hypothesis makes sense. Can Brock Purdy win you a game when he's down in the second half? That's his hypothesis. That's the experiment he wants to go. We'll use a scientific method. The problem is because they play so well in the first half, offensively and defensively,
they're not down.
They haven't been down since they had that stretch where players were injured. So then he was like, I want to see you play without your horses. And it's like, you are a Patrick Mahomes Kansas City fan, and they don't have any horses. And every week you're advocating for Patrick Mahomes and just talking about how he's doing everything that he can with these guys. And they should shorten the wide receiver rotation. Well, San Francisco doesn't have to do that. They can play Juwan Jennings. They can play Brandon Ayuk. They can put Debo in the backfield.
They got Ronnie Bell too.
They can give the ball to George Kittle on a jet sweep. They can give the ball to McCaffrey. He can throw it to Debo or whatever the case may be. You could do all these things in San Francisco. So it's like, what do you want San Francisco to do? You want them to play poorly in the first half just to prove to you that their quarterback is good? The reason that their quarterback is good is because they put up 31 points on this team. They put up 40 plus points on this team. He has the best passer rating in the league. That's how you know. So I think the argument is one of those situations where he stood on he planted his flag on, I don't think Brock Purdy's the answer.
Even Cam Newton coming at Brock Purdy.
He refuses to remove that flag.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing. Because
even Cam Newton called him a game manager.
Yo, that throw he threw to Brandon Ayuk between 4 defenders in Seattle is evident that he's not a game manager. The throw he in Jacksonville that he threw to George Kittle, he's not a game manager. He's just a good quarterback. That's it.
Yeah.
Like there's
I
nothing
like them in
wrong with
college.
what it's like imagine if a running back ran behind all pro tackle and all pro guard on his stretch plays and got 7 yards of carry every time he ran that way, and you were like, why didn't he run the other way?
Like, why would you?
Why would I? Like, I'm
Why
getting
would you?
7 yards this way. I'm
Let me
going this way.
I'm gonna do a quick score check real quick. So while we sitting up here, we got Clippers 79, Warriors 70 with 8:10 left in the third quarter. All right, got that. So finally, Philly over Seattle.
Yeah, I got that too.
And then, last thing before we get out of here, I'm still tripping off the fact that ESPN, or as I like to call them, SEC ESPN, decided to give a whole 2-hour show to the SEC schedule reveal. Like, I just want to know what these new conferences, you can't escape. You can't escape. Like, for example, I think I texted you this last night. Usually Alabama plays their Mercers or somebody before the Iron Bowl.
Correct.
This
year
season,
they're playing Oklahoma, right?
They're going to Norman the week before the Iron Bowl. Texas is playing the Red River Shootout, not the Red River Rivalry, the Red River Shootout. And then they get Georgia the next week.
Listen, you want the $85 million a year, then you might have to play some games where you don't get to play in the college football playoff. It's going to be 12 teams. They'll definitely figure out if it's possible. How do we get Georgia, Texas, Oklahoma, Alabama, and another SEC team in this 12? It's going to happen. Probably Ole Miss. You got to get 40. So 25% of the college football playoff will be SEC schools.
Alabama got a schedule next year. Alabama got a schedule this year.
And like this is why ESPN has a special, because now we're talking about SEC. Like, just
I know, but that just threw me off. But and by the way, I forgot. Texas also goes to the Big House next year.
Yeah, but they're all gonna, like, that's the thing. It won't matter because they're all gonna still make the 12-team playoff.
Check out this schedule. This is the Alabama schedule next year. All right. They're going to start off the season with the mighty Hilltoppers of Western Kentucky. They get their rematch at home with USF week 2.
When
they go to Camp Randall, a.k.a. Madison, Wisconsin.
When
play the Badgers, which is funny because, I'm always the one talking about, they always playing these neutral site games, and this is their first game at a Power 5 opponent, non-SEC, since 2011. But anyway,
13 years.
They get the bye week. Coming out of the bye, they get the Bulldogs, and not Mississippi State. No, not Mississippi State. Georgia.
Ooh.
Georgia at home. The next week they go to Vanderbilt. South Carolina at home. They go to Rocky Top. The week after Rocky Top, third Saturday in October, they play Missouri at home.
That could be tough.
Another bye week. Then they go to Death Valley. Just to make Mr. Logical laugh, after they play LSU, they play Mercer.
Got to squeeze it in there.
They go to Norman, and then they close out at the Iron Bowl.
Yeah. The thing is, because they're a team that just reloads.
Yeah.
I'm not too concerned. Whereas a team like Georgia just started that reload process.
Right.
I think it could be a situation with Georgia where like it might be a little bit of an exodus. They might lose some guys to the transfer portal. Whereas Alabama just stockpiles talent. They'll be fine. I don't think Jalen Milroe is going anywhere.
Right.
The offensive line isn't going anywhere. The defensive line isn't going anywhere.
All right, let's look at Georgia real quick. So Georgia starts the season at the compressor against my cousin Clemens. Then
good game.
Tennessee Tech at Kentucky. Bye
Tennessee Tech. I want that game like week 6.
I
want to work on some stuff.
Hold on, just listen to this. At Kentucky, bye week. At Alabama, home versus Auburn, home versus Mississippi State. At Texas, bye week. Florida down in Jacksonville. At Ole Miss, Tennessee, UMass, and then they close with Georgia Tech. And then last one, real quick, is Texas. Last one. Colorado State at the Big House. UTSA, Louisiana Monroe, Mississippi State, Oklahoma, Georgia, Vanderbilt, Florida, Arkansas, Kentucky, Texas A&M.
Yeah, I think Texas is going to get a rude awakening, especially if Quinn leaves.
Oh man, so I'm so conflicted right now because I know that Florida State is coming to play SMU next year, and I plan on being there. I just don't have the date yet. But that last week of the season, I gotta be there for Texas and Texas A&M. I gotta be there. So if Florida State is coming down that week, I'm gonna have a hard choice to make. I might actually go see A&M in Texas instead of going to see my own team.
I mean,
they haven't played since like 2010 or something, 2009. Like, doesn't
yeah, you gotta get a better game.
You know what I'm saying? I'm probably going to go to SMU, you know what I'm saying? But that's the right thing to do.
Klay Thompson's heating up. They're down 10, but Klay Thompson looks fluid. He has 13 points in the third quarter.
Shooting 39% from the floor and 34 from 3.
He's better off just shooting threes then.
You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, my goodness. And then, the Gators, I'm not going to go down their whole schedule. But, damn, they already play Florida State every year. Next year they're playing Miami and they're playing #UC Facts. You know what I'm saying? So a whole lot of Florida for the Gators next year. So, but on that note, y'all,
Clay's heating up.
Clay's heating up.
Yeah, it's another 3. 7 for 9 for 3.
Oh shit. You know what I'm saying?
I'm about to get another beer and watch this game.
Hey, they need to trade Draymond for Zach LaVine.
Oh, you idiot.
Oh, I got one. So if Zach LaVine can find his way to the Lakers as he wants, should the Warriors trade Draymond for DeMar DeRozan?
I don't think anyone would trade for Draymond, though. That was a terrible sequence by the. Yeah, I don't think anybody's traded for Draymond.
That's probably true. But
you might be able to trade for Ja Morant. That's the only NBA back you get right now. James Harden looks 45 out there playing basketball.
I'm mad at him because it's not even his fault. I was on Prize Picks the other night. I needed him to score 18 points. Or 17 and a half, 18 points. I needed him to score 18 points against the Kings. Of course, the Clippers were up by like 25 the whole game.
Took him out with 16 points.
He had 15, yep. And I was just like, dude, seriously? You know what I'm saying? But you know what? Sports Reports Assorted fans, we will not short you. We will not sit out early. We will not sit out at all. We are here for you.
Every week.
Thanks for the love.
Twice a week.
Review, subscribe, share. We are wherever you get your podcast. We are on YouTube. We are everywhere. Coming to LinkedIn soon. We on Facebook. Everything.
We doing this. Me and Mike, Sports Reports is ordered. We like a musical.
Holla back.
Like Les Miserables, baby. You gotta see it. The
And we
greatest
love it.
showman. Let's go.
We out.